Hey people, it is Monday, October the 2nd. The time is 3:10 in the afternoon. It's currently a very hot 26 Celsius, feeling more like 31 Celsius with the humidex. That's right, we're getting a bit of a fall heat wave here. I think over the next several days, the temperatures will be well above normal. Thankfully my AC is still in my window. But that being said, I am on Parliament Street, just north of Gerrard in the Cabbagetown neighborhood. And I'm going to be making my way from Cabbagetown over to the Annex, which is another popular residential neighborhood on the other side of downtown. Probably the two most well-known and popular residential neighborhoods in the downtown area. Two of the most sought after and expensive residential neighborhoods in the downtown area. And when I say residential neighborhoods, I'm specifically referring to neighborhoods made up mostly of homes and not apartments or condos. And both neighborhoods are made up of 19th century Victorian and early 20th century Edwardian housing. Cabbagetown is more of a Victorian neighborhood. It's a bit older than the Annex. And both neighborhoods are also full of many heritage buildings and are considered historic districts. And both neighborhoods have a popular commercial strip here on Parliament in Cabbagetown and along Bloor Street West in the Annex. And as I mentioned, they are on opposite sides of downtown. Cabbagetown is in the northeastern corner of downtown, and the Annex is in the northwestern corner. So I'll take us off of the main commercial strip here along Parliament into the residential area of Old Cabbagetown.
Yeah, I was brought in. Do you have a point?
It's crossing Carlton Street. I'll take Winchester though. And both neighborhoods are also known for having tree-lined streets with large mature trees, providing lots of shade on hot days like this. So I'm actually quite looking forward to getting off of the main street and getting into some shady areas. We can look at some of the lovely Victorian homes. And you can see we're right on the edge of part of downtown that is mostly made up of tall buildings. Both the Annex and Cabbagetown are literally just slightly beyond the tall building portion of downtown. All right, let's head into the neighborhood here along Winchester Street, and it's already nice and shady. And Cabbagetown is mainly made up of row homes and semi-detached homes. You might see the occasional fully detached house, but that's not the character of the neighborhood. It's a little bit more dense. You'll see more fully detached houses in the Annex. And this neighborhood was first developed in the 1840s and settled by poor Irish immigrants who grew cabbages in their front yards, and that's how it got its name, according to the legend. And you do see the occasional old apartment building here, but not really too many like this in Cabbagetown. This one is quite lovely though. I think this is my favorite intersection in the neighborhood, actually. And the neighborhood sort of fell into disrepute by the 1960s, and then in the 1970s it began being gentrified by young urbanites, many of whom were part of the gay community, and to this day it is considered a gay-friendly area. Of course, now it's a very upscale, affluent neighborhood where many professionals live, and some notable Canadians in the entertainment industry also called the neighborhood home. People like Robbie Robertson and Avril Lavigne. As well as poets and writers. And there are many of these narrow streets that are not much more than alleyways, but they still have homes in them. And this neighborhood is worthy of a complete video fully dedicated to it, which I have done in the past. But for this one, we're just going to kind of take a quick little detour through part of the neighborhood and then continue on over to the Annex, because it's a fair distance away. You can see the street signs say Cabbagetown Heritage Conservation District. And there's a rare house with siding. You don't see too many of those in this neighborhood. It's almost a fully brick neighborhood with the occasional stucco. See these little cottage style homes here. You do see some of these, but even these are attached together. There's a little restaurant here. You can see how lush the neighborhood is. We're going to head back out onto Parliament Street and start making our way over to the Annex. Maybe I'll cross to the shadier side of Parliament before I start heading north. And fall is finally kicking in here. Just a few days ago, everything still looked pretty green, but all of a sudden, colors are popping now, and the sidewalk is littered. And it goes without saying that both of these neighborhoods look pretty spectacular when the fall colors are in full effect. In the heavily treed residential areas. We're at Wellesley. Let's look at the towers of St. Jamestown. St. Jamestown and Cabbagetown are often lumped together. St. Jamestown was actually a huge redevelopment. It was formerly an area very similar to old Cabbagetown in its built form. So heading north towards Bloor, and a straight shot east along, or west along Bloor Street will take us towards the Annex. There's St. James Cemetery. I'm going to pick up the pace a bit now. Try to not have this video be overly long. Can't say I'm a big fan of this October heat wave we're having. I was quite looking forward to the cool fall weather, and we did get a taste of that in the last couple of weeks. And I was starting to enjoy it, and now all of a sudden it's back in Sweat City again. It's one of the oldest cemeteries, by the way, St. James. And right in the Cabbagetown neighborhood, a bit further east, is the Necropolis, which is a smaller cemetery. That's also among the oldest. So Bloor Street is just up ahead, but that stretch of Bloor between here and Sherbourne is a bit on the dull side, in my opinion, so I'm going to walk along Howard Street. And then we'll go back up to Bloor once we hit Sherbourne. So these are some new additions to the area, these two condominiums. And up ahead you can see more tall residential towers that have been recently completed. The one on the right is literally just finishing up now. And we're still in the shade. Walking west at this time of day. The sun will be shining directly in my face, so I'll try to keep in the shade as much as possible. I never noticed this little playground before. That's here. There are something like 18,000 people living in St. Jamestown here. Many of them are families with children. And there's a school in St. Jamestown as well, an elementary school.
Next.
And a quaint little strip of businesses. A new tower on the rise here, over 50 stories. And right across the street, another 50-plus story tower will be rising here. And here's Sherborne Street. So now we'll make our way up to Bloor. We'll cross here. That's actually a rental apartment building. I think the rents are quite stratospheric though, so it's definitely not affordable housing. All right. And I guess we're starting to come into rush hour now. This is Sherborne subway station on the corner of Bloor and Sherborne. Let's see if it makes a difference if I walk on the north side or the south side of Bloor. It looks like I have shade on either side. So I might as well walk on the north side for now. Alright, so we're beginning our westward march towards the Annex. Here's the head office of Post Media, home of the National Post daily newspaper. Well, I'm being thrown back out into the sunlight here. Passing over Mount Pleasant Road. This eastern end of Bloor Street, it's sort of a slightly posh feel to it, although obviously once you go west of Yonge it kicks it up a notch as you go through the Mink Mile. And there's the exquisitely manicured lawn and grounds of Manulife Insurance Company. Probably the best kept lawn in the city. And a lovely old head office building. There you can get a better look at the Manulife head office. Approaching Church and Bloor. So the next major street will be Yonge Street that we cross. The guy scoffed as he walked past me, like I was doing something utterly ridiculous. And here's the former Hudson's Bay Company store. Now just a hulking shell full of nothing. I think there are plans to redevelop this property. But the plans I saw were not particularly impressive or fitting for this location, in my opinion. A rather uninspired mid-rise building is proposed for the site. And we are approaching Yonge and Bloor.
Oh my god, I was literally being like...
And this will eventually be either the first or second tallest building in the country, depending on whether another building gets its height increased approved or not. It has a competing building being built at the other end of Yonge Street, down by the lake. You could say it's a good old-fashioned height war between the two buildings, trying to outdo one another. So we're walking through the Mink Mile with all the upscale luxury retailers.
Artichokes, we're still gonna run artichoke.
I'm really enjoying watching this building rise. Every time I come through the area, I always take a peek. That one is approved to be built to 91 stories. Oh, sorry, I can't stop, sorry. And we're at Bay and Bloor, so I'm going to head north on Bay. There's a look south. Alright, now let's get out of the glaring sun and we'll head north up to Yorkville Avenue. So Yorkville Avenue, so I'm going to start heading west again into the sun, but I can't avoid it from this point on as the Annex is west of here. But we're very close now. At least it's still shady here on this side. I wonder if Bel Air Street is still closed off to traffic even though the summer season is over. Get a look at that in just a few seconds. And it looks like it is. That's good. Or maybe they just have one lane open to traffic. I guess not, it just says road closed. It's probably just for deliveries and things of that nature. They're carrying 6 pizzas between them. So this is a very upscale shopping area and restaurant area.
No, she's still Gotham.
Yorkville and Bloor Street are lumped together as Bloor Yorkville.
The blue one's already disconnected.
Something was disconnected and something was being connected. Here's Old York Lane. I'll take you back down to Cumberland Street. And probably the most upscale hotel in the city, the Hazelton. new tower is on the rise here.
So I had 3 hours.
Here is Avenue Road. Now, as soon as I cross Avenue Road, I will officially enter inside of the Annex. You can see the CN Tower way off in the distance. Alright, so let's head north a block or two, and then we'll start walking through the Annex along one of its lovely residential streets, as we did back in Cabbagetown. Go. We're on Lowther Avenue. And right off the bat, we can see a turret here. There are some homes in the Annex that are referred to as Annex style homes, and oftentimes things like turrets and archways, such as you see in that one across the street, are among the indicators that the house is built in the so-called Annex style. And it looks like this place is already geared up for Halloween. That's the first home I've seen in the whole city so far with its Halloween decorations all ready to go. So as I mentioned, many of these homes are from the late 19th and early 20th century. And like Cabbagetown, it's a very affluent and sought-after residential neighborhood, being so close to the hustle and bustle of downtown. But you have nice quiet streets like this. And this area is also close to U of T, so many students and academics live in the area. There are also lots of fraternity houses. And some notable people have lived in the Annex as well, such as Jane Jacobs, the famous urbanist. For sale. I wonder what this house is going for. This is a semi-detached house, but each side is like a huge home on its own right. Probably in the millions. easily in the millions. Thank you. It does have a different feel than Cabbagetown. Cabbagetown seems a lot denser. As I mentioned, many homes there are row houses or attached houses. Things are a little more compressed. The streets tend to be narrower in Cabbagetown, I think, as opposed to here. And there's another turret, an Annex style house. You don't really see turrets in Cabbagetown now that I think of it. Maybe there are one or two, but definitely not something the neighborhood is known for. The Annex does have lots of apartment buildings though, kind of interspersed among the old homes. They tend to be in clusters though on a few streets. I think this is a fraternity house right here. And this is St. George Street. This street is lined with apartment buildings. If I had to choose which neighborhood I would rather live in, I think I would go with Cabbagetown. I just like the slightly older, denser look and feel to it. I love row houses. I think that's my favorite sort of urban vernacular among residential neighborhoods. But this is a pretty awesome house right here. That's like classic Annex style right there. I currently do live right on the edge of Cabbagetown, in the Garden District. The two neighborhoods border one another. My street is literally just a block away from the boundary of what is considered Cabbagetown. Yeah, definitely a lot more massive houses here than you see in Cabbagetown. But both neighborhoods are quite lush with greenery. Transportation-wise, though, this neighborhood does have a subway line running along Bloor Street, whereas Cabbagetown does not, unless you go up to the northern edge where Bloor Street passes north of the neighborhood. I suppose it's close enough, but I think this area definitely has a bit of an edge as far as access to the subway goes. But there are a couple of streetcar lines that do pass through Cabbagetown. It's a nice older apartment building. And this is Spadina Road. So let's head down to Bloor. The big archways here. Looks like this one is in need of some TLC. And here's Spadina subway station.
I want the coffee.
And here is Bloor Street.
I know you.
So like Parliament in Cabbagetown, the Annex does have its commercial strip here along Bloor. So I'll just take us along here for a minute or two and then I'll wrap up the video. And Cabbagetown does go as far west as Bathurst Street. Which is about a 10-minute walk to the west of here.
Like that's
I don't know. That's a good question.
Anyway, this sun is really beating down on my face here in this direction, so I'm going to start to wrap up the video as we come into the heart of the Annex retail strip along Bloor Street here. So I hope you enjoyed the rather lengthy walk from Cabbagetown to the Annex, from one sought-after residential downtown neighborhood to another. Both awesome in their own right, and both very expensive to live in. So leave a comment down below if you enjoyed the walk, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also be sure to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal, as well as via my merch store, or by becoming a channel member. And there's also a super thanks button down below if you would prefer to support the channel that way. And you can find me on Instagram under KContinuum. So thank you for watching, and thanks to all the channel members. And be sure to keep checking back, because as always, I will continue.